All right. 6 o'clock on the dot, and we are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 311, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff, and there's a new face next to me today. Chris, you want to introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do?
Yes, I'm getting. Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. This is a rookie mistake. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. I know I had YouTube open in the background, and it started playing you in my head again, like 30 seconds afterwards. So yes. I told you I don't live stream all that much. I'm a rookie.
Yeah.
Anyways, hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm Chris with CrossTalk Solutions, and I'm glad to be here. Man, Jeff, it's been a long time. We've known each other for a long time, even met in person for like well over a year now.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I'm on this show, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, you sat literally right next to me at PDX Land back in, what was that, March. And then we did a very brief stint on camera at LTX together.
Yes.
What's really funny is we live an hour apart.
Yeah, we're not too far.
So
that was really need to do more coincidence. That was like at PDX Land. I showed up. I had my kid there, and you were there, and like literally, it was me and then my kid, and then out of like 700 seats that could have been picked, months in advance.
Yeah,
you happened to be right next to us. Like, how odd was that?
That was weird. That was. I had no idea you were showing up, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," you're just walking around. You're like, "No, I'm setting up right next to you."
No, this is me. Yeah, here I am. I'm stalking you, Jeff. Here we go.
All right. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, wherever the conversation leads. Sometimes some Star Trek, as you can tell from the ambiance that the show has had for a number of years now. We do read all super chats on the air, but if you like the content you see, an even better way to help support the channel is going over to craftcomputing.store. We sell merch that's designed and made literally right here in-house. I etch all the glasses, I do all the wood carving. Go buy some merch. It's good stuff. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. It's another place you can give me money, but it's the only place to get access to my exclusive Discord server. You can chat with myself, John, Brett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads. Heck, if Chris wants an invite, I'll give him one too. And cool. Keep the party going all week long. All right. Well, your first time on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, sure.
Very much appreciate it. We start the show a certain way, and I think it's the best way to start any show, and that's by opening a beer.
Okay. Well,
I didn't prompt you for this or prep you for this, but what do you got?
No, believe me, I know what I'm getting into.
I like the glassware already.
This was a frosty mug not that long ago. I have the. Okay, so I didn't go out and get anything special. This is what I had in my fridge. This is the 10-barrel Apocalypse IPA, West Coast IPA, which I've had before, and it's actually quite good.
I do like the Apocalypse. It's a very solid standard from 10 barrels.
Standard, yes, standard. Yeah. Like you go to restaurants around here, they have it on draft, like pretty much
everywhere. Every bar around me has Apocalypse on draft.
And look at that, etched. Look at, see, I got the etched merch. This is This was not done by me, though. This was someone else sent this to me. So
nice.
There you go.
Well, I've got the in case of DNS bottle opener on me right now.
It's always DNS, right?
It's always DNS, right?
Right.
I'm opening.
Now, do you do like do you do an ASMR pour or anything?
Sometimes I'll crack the beer right next to the monitor, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
I can't remember if I've had this one on the channel recently or not, but I figured I'd open with the Deschutes Jubilale. It is their festive winter ale, 6.7%. It's a fantastic seasonal. Comes out every year. Like I said, I went to a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and out of the wedding party, no one. I mean, they did full catering and everything else, and so my brother-in-law purchased like 8 or 9 cases of alcohol for like a 100-person wedding, and I'm like, holy crap! And no one in the wedding party really drinks all that much, and so I went home with like 5 cases of beer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's always nice.
So I ended up with a case of Jubile Ale. I ended up with 2 cases of 10-barrel pub beer.
Yeah.
And
All right.
then a couple of boxes of wine as well. So
10-barrel pub beer is like your Saturday afternoon. I don't want to get like too blottered, you know.
I had one this afternoon after I was done stacking a cord of firewood.
Yeah. Well, cheers.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we got going
Actually,
on in chat?
Someone asked me a question, believe it or not. Or, well, I guess both of us.
Go for it.
What is the max number of cameras that the CloudKey Gen 2 Plus supports? And if you upgrade the size of the hard drive, does that change the max number of cameras? So the CloudKey Gen 2 Plus, do I have one sitting around here? I don't. The CloudKey Gen 2 Plus comes with, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive by default, SSD inside the thing. And I believe you can upgrade it to a 5 terabyte drive. Now, the problem with that small amount of storage for an NVR surveillance system is that if you're trying to do anything 4K, you're going to fill up that hard drive very, very quickly. We're talking days worth of footage if you even have just a small handful of cameras. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of an NVR, right? You want to be able to go back 30 days or so. At least that's sort of my gold standard, is like, if you're doing whatever 1080 or 4K, you need enough hard drive space to cover 30 days at least for the number of cameras that you have connected to that NVR. Yep. So yeah, I would say that it depends on the number of cameras you have. You might very quickly run out of hard drive space, certainly with the default drive. And even if you upgrade it, you're really not giving yourself that much more leeway.
Yeah, as far as max number of cameras, I don't remember the official spec, but I don't think upgrading your drive is going to increase your camera limit. That is actually an encode stream limit on the ARM processor that the CloudKey runs. And what was it? 12 1080s and 6 4Ks or something like I'm trying to remember what the CloudKey itself does, but
I don't remember the specs. Honestly, though, if someone's, I wouldn't personally put more than 2 or 3 cameras on it. Mm-hmm. And even then, I'd probably do 2 or 3 1080 cameras. You don't really want to go much more than that. If you're going to go more than that, you should put the money into like a decent NVR instead. Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
Oh, Tom's here. Hey, Tom.
Tom's here. He says, good afternoon.
Yeah. It's late where he is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not that late. What, 8 or 9?
9 o'clock. Yeah, he's 3 hours up. Yep.
All right.
I had Tom on the show one time, and I think it was, he's been on twice. I think the first time he joined was before I moved to an earlier time block, because the show used to be Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And so he actually joined me at 11 p.m. from Michigan.
Oh, wow. That is commitment. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hoping that Tom comes out to LTX this year if they throw it again. I think he missed it last year, but
I think they already said they're not going to do it next year.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's too bad. Man, it was so much fun.
It was a heck of a lot of fun. I have not had that much fun at a conference ever.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. I think they said they're looking at doing like a every 2-year rotation on it.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah.
I know, like, there was one that I missed from last year that was supposedly really good, and it was more of a 3D printer thing, or like a maker, some sort of maker conference in San Francisco. I don't know the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
Joel Telling was telling me about it, the 3D printing nerd.
Yeah.
And they all got to go do, all of the influencers at that event got to go tour Mark Rober's Crunch Labs while they were there, which, like, I was like, oh man, I would have killed for that. I mean, seeing the LTT studio was absolutely amazing, but I like Crunch Labs would be really cool too.
What was the name of that? It was created by a couple of the big name maker YouTubers, and I'm trying to remember. It was Alan Pan. It was gosh. I wanted to go to that. I actually emailed and said, "Hey, can I come? I'll pay for my own plane ticket. I just need a ticket in the door." And I never heard back from them. But yeah, that's an event that's on my list to go to next year. So
for sure, yeah, me too. And it's not that far. I think it's like San Francisco, so it's really not that far.
Yeah.
When you're flying out of Eugene, so like I'm like 15 minutes from the Eugene airport. When you're flying out of Eugene, like you're either going to Seattle or San Francisco. Like those are the two places. You always go to those two spots and then out wherever you're going. So like, I know the airport well, and I know it's only like an hour and a half flight. It's super quick.
Yeah, I'm halfway between Portland Airport and Eugene Airport. They're both about an hour and 5 minutes from my house, so I could fly out of either one. But given the choice, I'll go PDX because then I can go direct.
Yeah. PDX is the way to go if that's the case. Now, I used to live on the coast of Oregon where it was like 2.5 hours to PDX. That was not fun because, like, especially if you get in on a super late flight, you're like landing at 11 p.m. or something. Then you've got like a 2.5, 3 hour car ride through windy, foggy mountains to get home. It was not the best.
Yep. Even landing, most of my flights end up landing at like 10:30. Like they're closing the terminal as I'm collecting my bag, and that's always annoying. And luckily, it's only an hour drive back to my house. But when you're coming from on the other side of the country, if you're coming from Colorado, or my last flight in was from Toronto, and so it was a 5-hour flight, and I land at 11 p.m. and I'm going, oh god, I don't want to drive right now.
Was that the 45 drives trip?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That seemed like a pretty fun one too, huh?
That was a heck of a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get you out there. I think they said they were going to do it again next year. So
I have no contact or communication with anyone at 45 drives. I have not reached out to them. They haven't reached out to me. It's just been like I have Synology as my NAS. And I kind of work with them. I'm actually trying to get a new one right now because I'm at like 78% utilized on the one that I have. So I want to get a 10 gig something that I'm hoping they're going to send to me in return for a video. Because NAS are expensive. And I missed out. I was so pissed. I missed out on a Black Friday deal of they had 22 terabyte Western Dig red drives for, I want to say it was $338 per drive. And then they sold out. Like I almost pulled the trigger on it, and I was like, you know what? Let me just make sure. I'm like talking with Synology. Let me just make sure. Blah blah blah. I waited like half a day later, and they were sold out, and they were only through third parties for like $440. Yeah, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me!
Amazon had a deal last week on 20 terabyte Seagate Exos for $269.
Oh, that's actually really good. Is that still going on?
It might be. Let me.
Because like when you need like 6 hard drives, it's like you're really trying to pinch those pennies,
right? I mean, $20 per drive. It adds up really quick when you're buying 8 or 12 of them at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see. I think it might still be going on. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, send me that link, and don't put it in the public chat because I don't want everyone just buying them out.
Looks like it was on Newegg.
Okay.
They're back up to 309 limit
for 20 terabytes.
Limit
one. There's the problem.
There's the rub. Yep.
Shoot.
Ooh, you get a free SATA cable with purchase though.
I put the Western Dig 22 terabyte into Camel with an alert, and so hopefully it pings me at some point. But yikes. We got Eugene folks in chat. 2 people are saying they're in Eugene.
Nice.
Welcome everyone. In fact, come on over, join the stream.
Seagate Iron Wolf Pro on Amazon.
So
right now.
They're pricey though. I mean, I didn't find this. They didn't have. First of all, they don't have 22 terabyte. I think they have 16 terabyte max or something.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they have a 20, but it was sold out. I did look at those, and their prices are decent. That's what I'm running now. Is the Iron Wolf 8 terabytes in my current NAS, and they're fine. They've held up. I haven't had a single drive failure. Knock on wood. But yeah, they've been great for probably 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. Running without issue.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that price under 300 anymore. There's 376, there's 344, but that's for the NVR drives, which are the shingled. No,
I want the specific NAS drives.
Yeah. Yeah, either the Iron Wolf or the Exos. They do have some refurbished 20 terabyte Exos drives for $239.
So refurbished always like, I don't know, something about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't. The funny thing about like,
I run a lot of refurb drives though.
Oh, do you?
I do.
I've never done it. I feel weird about it. I don't know. It feels dirty. I don't want other people's files on my hard drives.
Actually, when we were at 45 Drives, one of the other guests that was there was a guy named Alan Nagel, and he's worked in the hard drive industry since like 1982, and he currently works for Seagate as an advisor and a couple of, or sorry, not with Seagate, HD Store. But he works with Seagate as an advisor and a couple of other companies as well. He goes, the refurbished drives are a fantastic deal because 70% of drives that Seagate receives under warranty are actually not bad. It's the RAID failed, and someone goes, "Oh, bad disk," and they RMA it instead of checking to see if the drive is actually bad, or was it a controller that gave out an error, or was it ZFS being stupid, or was it this, or was it that? So if a RAID fails, customers will just pull that drive and go, "Yeah, send me a new one." And he goes, 70% of the disks that we get in, we will re-verify, and there's not a single physical hard problem with it. We sell them as refurbished.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
So, yeah, straight from the horse's mouth. So,
yeah, it's just like, as like it's like Synology has hit me up a bunch. I've done a few videos on Synology stuff. I really actually like Synology NAS systems quite a bit. Like, there's so much you can do with them. Mm-hmm. But they're like, hey, you want to test out this new, Synology 5 drive or, 2U chassis or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, great. Yeah, it sounds great. What about the drives? Are you going to send me some drives? They're like, well, we're going to send you this $3,000 Synology NAS, but you got to buy $8,000 worth of drives in order to do a video on it. Right. And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't. I try to get them to send me the drives. And I think I've only been successful once. And they sent me 2 drives just to sort of test it out. I actually have God, I wish I knew what this was. Down below my desk here, there's a 2U QNAP 8 drive bay, some sort of NAS. I forget the model number, 10 gig connectivity and all that they sent to me, and I never heard from them again. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I told them, I'm like, listen, no promises on a video because I'm, but like, if you want to send it to me, send it to me. And they did. But again, same thing, no drive. So it's just sitting here driveless. I'm thinking like, well, maybe I'll do a giveaway at some point.
Yeah, there you go. For NAS testing, I keep a stack of 8 terabyte drives that I got refurbished for like $70 a piece or something like that. So I have 8 of those. So if I do get a NAS review in, I can at least stick in a moderately modern drive set into them, and do my benchmark testing and things like that.
That's what I'll do. So once I get my next NAS upgrade, I will take my previous NAS drives, and those will be my stack of 8 terabytes that I can use for testing. But I don't have that stack right now.
Yeah.
I remember we did that panel at LTT or LTX.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, oh, I've got, how many petabytes do we have in storage and all that? And I'm like, I've got like 30 terabytes. That's my storage solution at home. I'm sorry it's not that impressive, but it is what it is.
Yep. No, I know I was over 300 terabytes, which shocked even me. But my main NAS system, I think is or my main NAS array, I think is 80 terabytes, and that's mostly business use stuff. So that's all my archived footage. That's any business related things. And then I've also got a couple of other NAS arrays that I use for, miscellaneous storage and Plex and things like that. I also have a full set of backups in here. So, I have like 120 terabytes of usable storage, but then another 120 terabytes of backup storage. So it adds up pretty quick.
It's nice. Yeah. So check this out. Michael K says, looking to start a small one-man IT company for small mom and pop businesses as a side gig. Any advice? And yeah, what I would say there is just go out and start doing it. And very, very carefully pick and choose the customers that you work with. So I kind of did the same thing when I was getting close to like leaving my last job. And in my town, there were certain like, brew pubs and, places that I enjoyed going to and I enjoyed spending time there. I went up to those places first and I offered my services. And especially if you're just getting started, offer your services at a fairly steep discount, right? Just to get that customer in your back pocket. And then when you finally start going, full time, you can sort of start raising their rates to like what you would charge if you were fully independent or, fully not just doing it as a side gig. Yeah. So that would be my best advice. And in fact, I did a video. If you can search it on my channel, it's called like, what was it called? It was like 10 tips for getting started in IT side hustle or something. I don't know. Like I did a video on that where I actually talked about like all of the things that I learned when I started out, because I found myself on the coast of Oregon with a director level IT position, and the company laid me off. And if you know anything about the Oregon coast, there's no director level IT positions, or there's a very few, director level IT positions.
If you lose that job, you're moving.
Yeah, and so I was kind of like, all right, what do I do now? And so I kind of did the same thing. I just hustled. I went around to businesses, and I had actually already started. I had probably 3 or 4 regular clients, side clients, before I got laid off, because I kind of, when you're in a corporate job, there's certain signs where you can start seeing the writing on the wall as, the quarterly numbers come in, and you see the company's not doing as well as it should, and they're looking around to cut where they can. You're like, well, I better sort of make sure that I'm
hit the old dusty trail,
hedging my bets. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, probably the best advice that you just gave is just because someone requests your services doesn't mean you have to give them. You don't have to operate as an a la carte business with, hey, we want you to redesign our infrastructure and this and that, and we're only going to pay you this much. You're not their employee. You're not at their beck and call. You are providing a service, and you don't have to provide that service to everyone. And especially in IT, if you have a customer that you feel might take advantage of you, that doesn't understand the services that you offer, is overly demanding or whatever else, firing your customer, just a pain in the ass. Firing your customers is a very regular thing in IT. Saying, we'll finish out this contract and then good luck on your future ventures.
And that's the nice thing about working for yourself, is you can pick and choose your customers, and you can say no, and you can fire customers. And believe it or not, one of the things that I learned pretty early on is that telling customers no is actually a very powerful sales tool. Like, so if a customer, like Jeff, I'm normally in like the networking and phone system world, right? And especially in like phone systems, sometimes a customer will come up and they're like, hey, I've got such and such old phone system and I want you to work on it and blah, 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 blah. And I'll just be like, no, like, no, that's not really what, like, I don't prefer to work on those types of phone systems. So when you tell a customer no, sometimes they come back and they're like, oh, well, what would you work on? And then you turn that into an actual sale, and then you can support that customer on equipment that you're familiar with.
We did that a lot of times at my previous organization. We would have people call in and say, hey, we want your services, and we have this for a network and this for phones and this for our client devices, and our server infrastructure is terrible, and this and that, and we're like, okay, we will take you on as a customer, but you're going to need to have some capital investment first. We will tell you how to spend that money. We're not going to make a profit off migrating you, but we will get you up to a system that we can actually support. Because otherwise, because I'm not going to train my tech in a 25-year-old phone system because you guys still happen to run it. We're going to get you up to one of the 3 options that we run. And because that's what we're skilled in, and that's how we can efficiently help you run your business.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to take on too many standardize, right? Yeah. Standardize on certain subsets of equipment. If you prefer Unify equipment or you prefer Cisco equipment or whatever, you know, and then certain types of PCs or certain types of servers or certain types of Linux distributions, right? Standardize across your customer base so that it's easier for you. Like I remember one time I had this dentist's office and they had this god awful like Zyzel router or something or other, and it was such a pain in my butt every time I went in there, and I don't know how to use it. It's taking more time. I'm charging the customer more time.
Yep.
If I had just replaced that thing right off the bat with something that I was familiar with, I could have just administered it remotely and been done with it, you know, and save them a lot of money.
Nope. Yeah, we did that all the time with, you know, we'd have these weird modems, routers, or whatever else, and it's like, we can't even operate our equipment on this. I don't know how to operate this thing. So if you want me to support you, here's the infrastructure that we require you to have, and we'll install it, and that'll be part of our spin up for you, and that's all in the quote and everything else. But this is what we support. So don't be afraid to do things like that.
Do you do side businesses at all, or are you like full-time 100% influencer and YouTube content creator?
I'm pretty much full-time 100% YouTuber influencer. I do still do some side hustles with server build outs or client builds, you know, so system integrator type stuff. Hey, I want a custom solution for, you know, to install at a client site. I have a couple different people that I work with in town that they do, you know, 1- and 2-man IT shops, and they go, hey, you know, we got onto Dell's website and they want like $13,000 for the server. Can you build us an equivalent system? And yeah, sure. Here, $5,000 done. And I can warranty it and everything else. So if you're interested,
I'll tell you,
I still do that kind of stuff.
He loves Active Directory. That's his #1 favorite thing in the world.
Don't tell him that.
But I'll tell you another thing from Michael, right? If I were getting started today as a one-person shop, I actually probably wouldn't go around to my local neighborhood trying to drum up business. I would learn something new. Like, for instance, I am dying to learn, and this is one of those things, like if I had unlimited time, I would learn all of the new, like, you know, at the whatever dev conference a couple months ago, OpenAI announced their new, you can make your own GPTs, right? They opened that up. And I've done a couple. I don't know if I told you guys about this, like, you know, our little group that we talk in, Jeff, but like I now have my own custom GPT for YouTube stuff where I created it myself. I can log into it, I can upload a script, and it will give me a summarized description that I can post right into YouTube. It gives me all of the tags that I want, formatted correctly and under that 500 character limit, like all of these different tools that I created to make my life as a YouTube content creator much easier.
Yeah.
But with those and the programless tools, automation tools that they have now, like make.com, Zapier, all of these integrations, you can basically go build a SaaS app that you can charge money for in a very small niche and just keep doing that over and over and just build applications that run themselves. I would get very good at doing that, because if you did that, that is invaluable to companies these days, especially as now, like, the AI is like the new gold rush, right? It's the put it in the cloud of 20 years later.
Yeah, no, every new product, there's I have a server on my desk right now that I'm finishing up a review for, hoping it'll be out on Friday, so I can talk a little bit more about it. But half of their marketing for this piece of hardware has to do with, you can do some pretty cool AI things with it too, and I'm like, you don't even make that software. Why is that an advertising point? It's because it has to be in there. Because
it's marketing fluff, yeah.
Because it's marketing fluff, but even more than that, they're not wrong. It absolutely can do some of those things, and even though they're not making the AI thing, they're relying on, you know, open source projects like, you know, local GPT and things like that. It's still more than capable of doing that, and if they can convince a customer to add that into their workflow using their hardware, that's a win-win. So
yeah. Well, I can just see it being like, I don't know, you can literally build a business in an afternoon and it can start making money for you passively.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, that's the amazing thing about the time that we're living in right now. Because that, I mean, even a year ago, that wasn't possible. without at least some development knowledge. Now you don't even have to be a developer; you can do it. Our good friend Tech Potato just popped in.
I just saw that.
And Veronica's here too. We got the whole gang here. Wonderful.
Yeah. We're just missing Techno Tim and another Jeff.
That's right. Jeff 2, as we call him when we're on this show. Jeff's on fire, man. That guy, he kills it. I love his videos. Yeah. He's so good at YouTube, Jeff Geerling.
Yes.
Where is Geerling? Someone says. Yes.
I don't know.
Where is Geerling? He's probably hanging out with his family, doing something that's not work related.
You missed the conversation we had at 45 Drives. So we were all the YouTubers who were going to be there. We had a call with 45 Drives before we went, and everyone was on, but Geerling was running late, and. And so the question came up, well, what do we call Jeff and Jeff? And I said, well, I can be Jeff, and Geerling, we'll just call him Other Jeff. And and so now Geerling and I throw back and forth, well, no, you're Other Jeff. So if you ever hear me call him Other Jeff.
You guys are both Other Jeff to me. How's that?
I mean, I'll take it.
How you doing on your beer there?
I'm doing quite well. It's
oh yeah, we're getting down there.
Yeah.
I did bring it back up.
I have a second beer that will take me the rest of the show to drink. So
yeah. Is it a strong one?
It's a strong one. It's it's a good one.
I was at Costco, we were talking about that streaming PC. I was at Costco and I always stop and look at what beers they have, and they've got a very nice holiday selection of brews right now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some good stuff. All the holiday themed stuff's coming out. Now we've gotten past pumpkin beers. We're into holiday beers.
There is not a worse season. Like the pumpkin spice thing, I get, and I get that pumpkin spice is a very popular flavor, and I understand, Starbucks jumping on that trend, and every coffee place you know of, and scones coming out, and whatnot. Stay out of my beer. Just no.
Yeah. You got Mario Kart in the background there. Are you a good at Mario Kart?
I do. I'm pretty decent at Mario Kart. I am not competitive level Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But no. From regardless of the version, I'm pretty darn good.
Here's an argument that I always have with my wife, because I'm pretty good too. In fact, I'd love to play sometime. That'd be fun. Two things about Mario Kart. First of all, it's the only game where a lot of it is skill, but there is definitely a lot of luck as well. And the other thing is, like, I play my kids at Mario Kart, and I don't hold back. I don't let them win. Nope. And my wife's always like, you should let them win sometimes. I'm like, no, then they're not going to learn.
Earn it.
I slay my kids at Mario Kart.
I have always been the dad that ruthlessly kicks my kids' asses at video games. Because it's either, kids don't get anything other than a little serotonin drip when they win. What they will know, though, is if they get good and then they win, that's an achievement. And so our family is very competitive. We play card games every night at dinner. We sit down at the table, we have dinner, and during dinner we will play cribbage or Uno or a variety of different card games. And me and my wife do not go easy on the kids. And what's really funny is you see your kids starting to get super competitive and super aggressive as far as wanting to win as well. And we use the opportunity to teach them, have a good attitude whether you win or lose. We're having fun, but Dad's not going to go easy on you because I want you to know, or I want you to get better, and I want you to learn the game.
Mm-hmm. Plus it's fun to win.
Right. Plus it's fun to win. So my 6-year-old, we call her Little Bit. She gosh, She destroyed me at Exploding Kittens one night. By baiting me into to a couple of moves that I didn't want to make, and then hitting a couple of attack cards. She had been saving them all game because she knows Dad doesn't go easy, and so she learned and learned how to strategize and baited me into a move, and then just whooped my ass. And I could not have been more proud.
You ever play Catan?
Never really got into Catan.
I just got it for my birthday in October, and it's pretty fun. It's like, it's not as like involved as I thought it was. But like my daughter and I enjoy playing it. The problem with it is it's like made for 3 or 4 players, so you guys got to have kind of a group together. 2 players, it just isn't quite as much fun. But yeah, Catan's fun. Someone mentioned Roblox in chat. That's my boy's game, and like he kills me at that game. Like, he's so good at Roblox, it's not even funny.
Yep. But no, and then once a week, my wife and I will have a date night where we'll put the kids to bed, and then we'll play games by ourselves. We'll play card games, or we'll fire up the Wii or the Switch, and we'll play Wii Bowling or Mario Kart, or Mario Kart 8 for Switch, or whatever else.
Have you played Mario Wonder? That game is phenomenal.
It is amazing. Yeah. No,
it's really good. We beat it already, but it's like, man, it's so much fun. I haven't had that much fun playing like a side-scrolling Mario game in forever.
Yeah. No, I'm very much a fan of the side-scrolling Mario games. I mean, Odyssey was great. Galaxy was great. All the Mario games are great in their own right, but I have a soft spot especially for like Super Mario Brothers, or New Super Mario Brothers, and all the original Super Mario World and 1, 2, and 3, and yeah. So
someone said something about what's up with my microphone. So it's interesting, and I don't really know. I don't know if it sounds tinny. It has definitely, the quality has been reduced, but it's because I think I moved it. I have a new office setup where I'm closer to the wall, and I think it's picking up some of the sound bouncing off the wall, whereas it used to be closer to the middle of the room. And these blue mics, you got to be like really up on them for it to like actually sound really good.
Yeah.
So I have a new mic coming that will be here soon. What do you have, Jeff?
This is what I have. This is what I've been using for a number of years. It is a Samson, Samson.
Samsung, okay.
It is a C02. It is what's known as a pencil condenser.
Okay.
It's not a shotgun mic, but it acts kind of like a shotgun mic, where it captures 90% from directly in front of it, and then 10% from directly behind it. But it rejects
interesting.
everything else. And so whatever it's pointed at, it's going to record. But if I rotate the mic, you see how much quieter I get just by that little adjustment right there, just where the mic is pointing. But because it also picks up 10% of what's behind it, it gets a good ambient sound as well. And so it doesn't sound, hollow or empty, or,
it sounds
you get a
good.
little bit of room sound.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
I am ordering the Shure MH7, which is kind of a small sort of shotgun kind of mic. I don't know. I don't know a lot about mics, but it's like a smaller shotgun style mic. And it's interesting because it has both USB and XLR, which is why I kind of like it. Gives you like the
which
option.
One was that? Shure.
It's the Shure. It's MH7 or MV7. I forget what the model number is.
MV7.
But it's like a little tiny MV7. There it is. Yeah. It's the Shure MV7, and a lot of people, very highly reviewed. And yeah. I want a USB mic. That's the thing. Like, you talk to like someone like Epos Vox or whomever, right? And he's like, "Oh, it's got to be XLR and that sort of stuff." But it's then you got to buy a bunch of XLR stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'd like to have the option in the future, but that's why this is kind of a nice compromise. I feel it's got USB and XLR, very versatile.
Nice. Yeah. No, I've got a full XLR setup. I have an audio interface, but getting the right audio interface has been an adventure as well, because I've been through like 4 or 5 different XLR audio interfaces. Same microphone, but either they crap out after 6 or 8 months, or the sound is terrible, or something on it degrades, or it becomes a little flaky, or whatever else. Yeah, no, I finally found one that I like, but it took me $500 of buying different mix boards and audio interfaces to find one that worked well with my $70 microphone. So,
yeah, and it's like everything in like content creation is just another learning curve you have to go through, right? You've got the audio, you've got the camera, the DSLR, the various lenses, the aperture, and all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the lighting that you have to dial in, and then you want to try to automate everything so it's easy to do, and it's just everything. Not to mention editing, right? And all the other stuff. Then you get into SEO and thumbnail creation, all the stuff we talk about in our group that's like just so drives everyone crazy. But yeah.
So anyway,
someone said talk to Dan from LMG about mics. So I mean, that would be Dan Wanshow guy. What's his last name? Dan B something. I interviewed him at LTX.
Yeah.
Really super nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have the ability to just call Dan, unfortunately. he's I interviewed him once. That's the extent of my interactions with him.
Yeah. All right. Well, today's episode does have a sponsor. So let me pull up my notes there so I can actually read the proper thing. There we go. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. Even the most skilled network engineer will tell you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as you need to go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, NVMe block storage, and more. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of 2023, and last I heard they actually had all of those done already, so my copy's a little out of date. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing. And again, a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Aren't they like cloud computing by Akamai now?
Kind of, yes. What's funny is I actually have two cloud computing or virtualization cloud host sponsors now. I have Linode and I have Vultr is a new one that I picked up, and I
Vultr.
Yeah, Vultr reached out to me and they said, "Hey, would you mind, doing some ads?" And I said, "I'd love to. Let me make sure I read my contract with Linode because I don't know if I have an exclusivity agreement." And it turns out I don't. And so
there you go.
So I emailed Linode and I said, "Hey, I don't have exclusivity. I just want to make sure that's not a mistake on your part, and anyone's going to be mad because I start running ads for another cloud advertiser. Like, I want to be above board with this."
Sure, of course.
And,
that makes sense.
And they went, "No, you're totally fine." And I went, "Okay, Vultr, I run ads with this other company too. Are you okay that I'm running ads for?" And they went, "Yeah, totally fine." So
yeah. Well, I do an ad for Vultr. I give Vultr about $3,000 a month.
Nice.
That's who we host. All of our hosted PBX systems are on Vultr.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah, they're solid too. Great support. I don't want to turn into a Vultr ad, but I actually do recommend them highly.
Yeah, go click on the Linode link down below. This is their segment after all. So. But no, both have been solid companies to work with. I've done a couple of different projects with both of them for very small projects, but everything's gone very smoothly. So
yeah, I used to like DigitalOcean, then they screwed me out of affiliate money.
Ooh.
They had so with DigitalOcean, and this is getting into some inside baseball of influencer stuff, but with DigitalOcean, they wouldn't, like, when you make a referral, they would give you DigitalOcean credit instead of like paying you cash or whatever, which is fine because I use those kinds of services, and I had racked up something like, I think at one point I had $4,000 or $5,000 in DigitalOcean credit. It was a lot of money. And at some point, and I can't possibly use that much, I'm not using that many of their services. I use maybe $100, $200 a month of DigitalOcean stuff.
Yeah.
And they they came out and they said, listen, if you have credits, those are now going to expire. It wasn't, they were perpetual when I earned them. And then they changed the rules and said, well, now those are going to expire. And so they expired out all my credits eventually, which left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily, all the affiliate programs I work with, they don't expire. I do have one in particular that I need to cash out, and I just haven't yet. I have a AliExpress owes me about $7,000 on my account.
Whoa, really? Holy mackerel! And they don't just automatically pay out.
They will only do Swift transfers, and unfortunately, my institution doesn't support Swift transfers, and so I actually have to go set up another account at another bank somewhere just so I can funnel money to my business account. I just haven't done it, but I went
just have them pay you in have them pay you in Dogecoin.
Right, yeah. But no, all the AliExpress affiliates, those have been adding up over the last year and a half or something like that. So yeah,
I'll say, dang, that's a lot.
I think I've got over 7,000 in my account over there.
Well, do it now, man, and have a nice Christmas. You know,
that's kind of the idea,
presents.
Right? So, no, it's probably going to go towards my new studio build. So.
Oh, you doing a new studio?
Yes.
Are you going to be in the same place, or are you actually going to get a studio space?
Going to be in the same place. So I'm here in my office. This is my downstairs basement office. I'm actually going to be building a building on the side of my garage. So I'm going to be building myself a shop, essentially. I have just enough space to build what I want, and I've talked about this a couple times on the show. I originally wanted to break ground back in August, but then ran into bureaucracy of the city coming back, and I'd submit, hey, I'm going to build this building here for this function on my property, and I've already read through all the city code, and here's what I'm prepared to do or whatever else. And they went, oh, you can't build there. And I went, yes, I can. and then they went, no, because my house is a corner lot on a cul-de-sac. And so I have the main road, but then I have road on 3 sides of my house. Now, 2 of those sides is the cul-de-sac. Also of import is my front door, and my address is on the main road. And so even though my driveway is around the side on the cul-de-sac, that's technically my backyard.
I see.
But they went, no, you can't build there because you need a 20 or 22 foot setback from the street. And I went, not on a cul-de-sac. On a cul-de-sac, I only need 8 feet setback. And they went, oh, well, I guess that's right. Well, you still can't build the building that tall. And I went, yes, I can, because it's measured from the road height, and the road is 5 or 6 feet above grade with my house. And they went, oh, well, I guess that's right. Okay. Well, you still can't do that because you're too close to the neighbor's property. And I went, no, I'm that close to my neighbor's property's backyard. It's backyard to backyard, which means there's only a 3 foot setback, not a 12 foot setback. I read all the rules. I know. Would you just? They're
like, we're gonna get you on something. We're gonna get you on something.
And so I had to resubmit 5 or 6 times. And go through that entire process. And then because we also live in Oregon, I wanted to beat the rain. And so it's I wanted to break ground in August, be done in October, and then moved in by November 1st. And that timeline came and went. And it's I finally got the city to go okay, submit your drawing and plans and everything else, and we'll see if this passes muster right now on October 28th. And it's well, now I'm not going to do it.
No, too late.
And what's funny is November's been unseasonably dry for us. There hasn't been a lot of rain. I think we're going to start paying for that tomorrow. I
think we got 5 or 6 straight days of rain coming in right now.
Yeah, I think my forecast is 10 straight days, all of which 3/4 of an inch or more. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, it's just gonna
jump
on us.
Yeah, it's been freezing cold though, man. It's been ridiculous outside.
Yeah. So the new plan is I'm going to submit for my building permit in March and then break ground in April.
There you go.
Try to get out of the weather.
Are you going to do a whole series of office build videos like other Jeff?
Oh yeah. No, we're going to do at least 4 videos probably. So I'm going to show the actual buildup of the building. That'll probably be 3 or 4 different videos, and then probably 3 or 4 videos of moving in, infrastructure. My server rack's going to move out there. I'm going to have a dedicated cooling system for my server room. So yeah, just as the project goes along, it's like, hey, that'd make an interesting video. Let's go ahead and shoot that one. So yeah, hey, here's how I'm running the electrical. Here's how I'm doing this. Here's how I'm doing that. So right now I'm working on trying to get some sponsors signed on as well. And I'm trying to aim it at, hey, we can be product adjacent. And so, hey, if you want to advertise a server, tell you what, I'm going to be moving my server rack at some point. I'll do a sponsored video for you guys, or you can be the sponsor of that video. You can have a 1 or 2 minute ad read in the middle of the video because it's related to what I'm doing in that video. But, I'm trying to make, do the influencer thing and make all that work. But
sure. Well, it's fun. I mean, it's nice to kind of like shake it up every so often and rebuild. That's actually what I just did. This is a whole brand new sort of setup. As you can see, I'm still trying to dial in microphone issues and lighting. I got to do better background lighting and all that.
Yep.
But like, it's fun. I did get this nice standing desk, which is quite nice. Plus a side table that matches the height of the standing desk when it's up. I got my whole server rack underneath here. I'll probably do an office tour at some point. But
in fact, Ben is in chat. Ben is a guy that I hired as an architect to help me like through the initial process as well.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah,
Ben, that would be my next move, is out in the, just put something out in the backyard too, kind of like what you're thinking. Like, I'd love to have a separate studio. It'd be wonderful because this is I'm just in like a spare bedroom and it's a little cramped, but you make it work. And just like the LTT studio, it feels bigger than it actually is when people are watching it. So,
Craft Computing, thoughts about pumping waste heat to your home during the winter? The problem is I've gotten my home server rack so efficient that I'm only drawing about 350 watts. It's not a lot of heat, and you certainly can't pump that much heat to a secondary location. I am working on... so some people who have followed the channel for a while know that there's an underground river below my house. I have 3 sump pumps on my property to prevent the earth from retaking it and my house floating halfway down the street. My heat pump decided to, or my air conditioning system decided to kick the bucket this summer. And so I called in a couple HVAC companies to take a look at it, and it's likely just depressurized, decharged, whatever, just, but they're like, well, it probably has a leak, so we have to go through this whole process of, setting up sensors and how much is it leaking and where is the leak at, and by the time we're done with that, you might as well just buy a new heat pump. And I'm like, no, because solder's a lot cheaper than a heat pump. And well, we just don't want to do that. And so, speaking of like firing your customers and whatnot, they just told me, no, we only install new systems. And I'm like, well, that's crap, and there's got to be a better way to do this. Well, I have a free unlimited source of cold water at earth temperature rising from the ground every 5 minutes. Why don't I make essentially a swamp cooler to chill the water from 55 down to 40, pipe that through a couple of radiators in line with my air return, and then recirculate that through my house and essentially cool my house with my sump pump water.
Yeah.
So that's efficient. What I'm working on now. That's a system that I'm trying to draw up right now. Also, during the winter, there's no reason I couldn't also plumb water from my water heater into that same system and turn off the cold and turn on the hot, and have the water heater recirculate water and heat my house from the water heater. So working out all that, and the really cool thing about my house is there's a it's a split level home, but there's a crawl space behind the wall here that is like 7 feet tall. So I can walk under my house, and all of the piping for my house is in one line, right along the outside of the edge of the wall.
Yeah.
And so tapping into any system I want is literally just walking through a hatch and then going, hey, there's all the tubing.
Yeah.
So
here's a third benefit. I don't know if you've thought of this.
Mm-hmm.
When the shit really hits the fan, you've got all that free water. You could be the local water baron and like sell water to all the local community in exchange for goods, goats and chickens and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, my main goal is to at least provide air conditioning to my house that literally only costs me an aquarium pump and a transmission cooler, and then just pipe that in line, and maybe a couple forced fans to help move the air through and get proper efficiency on it. But in theory, that should work. Is it as efficient as a heat pump? Maybe not, but at the same time, it's cheaper than installing a new heat pump, so I'm gonna try it.
Probably cheaper to run too, I would imagine, right?
I would imagine, yeah, it probably is, because like I said, all it is I'm gonna set up an evaporative cooling tower, and so a couple of lengths of 6-inch PVC pipe and some kind of aerator to mist the water down, because if you move air through water through as it's evaporating, it cools dramatically. You're pulling all the energy out of the water. And so the water coming out of the ground behind me is like 58 degrees. It's earth temperature water. So cooling that down into, the mid to low 40s wouldn't be that difficult. And then all you have to do is insulate your lines, run them through a radiator, or essentially a heat exchanger, and put that in line with the rest of your HVAC system. And the air moving through automatically cools.
Very cool.
If it works, I'd also like to pump that out to my new studio build as well, and we'll use that to cool the server room, cool the main office space, and hopefully never have to deal with an HVAC company again.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about saying kind of the same. Like, if I build an outside studio, it's one thing to get electrical out there, but getting plumbing out there as well is a whole different thing. So I'd probably just go without plumbing. I don't really need it in a studio that's outdoors. It would just be if, I can walk into the house if I, need water or whatever. So that's interesting to think about. Plus, I'm sure there's a lot more permitting and stuff involved if you're getting into water stuff.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is I already have the pumps there, so I don't think there's any permitting as long as I'm not building outside of my residence.
Well, that's nice.
So,
Someone said H2O computing. That can be your new.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Brandt said the same thing 4 times over. So should we answer this?
Make him ask a 5th.
I'll go for it. Kevin, I'll help you out.
I'm kidding. Go for it.
I have a pfSense with WAN failover. When enabled, it sends more data over the backup port when the primary is still up. How do I fix it? Also, the load balances.
You probably have load balancing on, and you're not actually configuring your WAN as a hot spare. You are probably.
Well, he said load balancing is off specifically.
Well, apparently it's not, or you have routes that are being discovered, and clients are linking to specific routes. So
or it could be some sort of static routes you got set up that are specifically sending traffic down that connection, regardless of failover status.
Right.
Let me take this opportunity to plug my upcoming pfSense training course.
Ooh.
I don't teach it, so that's why I don't know as much about pfSense, but we do have a really, really good trainer. His name's Dave Barger. He's been working with CrossTalk for 6 or 7 years now. And this time around, we did Austin, then we did Atlanta. This time around, we're doing Seattle. So we will be up in Seattle for 3 days of training in February. It's called CrossTalk's Fundamentals of Networking. You learn more than you'd ever want to know about pfSense, including HA, load balancing, failover, and then also some of the higher end routing protocols like BGP. So we actually really cram in so much stuff in just 3 days worth of training. Oh, and your architect says there's some good rainwater catchment and treatment systems out there. It's definitely something to look into.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go
web
ahead
link
and open
to pfSense course. Sorry, one sec. You can open that up. Web link to pfSense course. It's events.crosstalksolutions.com. You can check it out.
Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and open up my second beer now.
Okay.
And this one's a good one. This one's a really good one. I'm going to give the people who know one of those.
Fancy.
So this is the 2021 Bourbon County Stout. So this has been in my fridge for 2 years. Slowly getting better and better. I think I have 2 or 3 more of these left, but I figured 2 years since I got these bottles, I wanted to go ahead and open one of them up and see what it's like. So this is notes of vanilla, toffee, chocolate, burnt sugar, and dried fruit. 14%.
Whoa. That is a hefty brew, Jeff.
Yes.
14%.
I told you.
I'm going to get up. I got to get out my charger and plug my laptop in. I've got it plugged into one of these like power strip USB cords, and I don't think it's sufficient. All right, hopefully this doesn't knock me off.
I feel like President Scroob on Spaceballs right now because all I'm doing is smelling the bottle.
All right. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Your video dropped, though.
Yeah, I think I might have to reset that. Give me 1 second here. But otherwise, my whole computer would have gone out, so.
Yeah.
All right. We're coming back in. We're doing it live. That is a dark, hefty beer.
Uh-huh.
There's a beer that I love called Allagash Curio.
I've not heard of that one.
Allagash is I think they're East Coast. They might be like, I think like Northeast actually. But they have a Curio whiskey barrel aged brew that's quite strong and quite delicious. One of my favorites.
Nice.
Some Bourbon County stat. You know what's funny? Do you do TikTok at all? You're not on TikTok as like Craft Computing, right?
I'm not. No. I'll get on there occasionally. But I have the app. I found it immediately to be a time suck, and
it is.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is I didn't need another one of those.
Yeah.
So
here's what I do, right? Because I post videos on TikTok as CrossTalk. I'll take a lot of the content that I make for YouTube. I'll just reformat it as vertical form, TikToks. I keep everything on a completely separate phone. Right. So I've got an old iPhone that doesn't have a cellular plan. I have TikTok on there, Facebook, Instagram. They're not on my main phone at all. I don't use those applications. But when I'm on TikTok, every once in a while, let's see what's happening on TikTok. I scroll through. Once you start going down any sort of rabbit hole on TikTok, that's all the videos that you get.
Yeah.
And like right now, I'm big in like AI and like side hustle stuff. I somehow got on that trick, and now like I'm like all the videos are about that. But I also somehow got on like bourbon snob TikTok. Where it's just a bunch of people opening different bourbons and talking about their favorite bourbons, and they're throwing out terminology I've never heard of about bourbons, like that sort of stuff. And it's just weird how much stuff is out there. There's just everything.
Yeah,
just absolutely everything. Yeah, TikTok, and that's really why. Mostly it's because of the privacy issue, as Ben was saying. Not great. The TikTok stuff. That's why I don't have it associated with any of my main email addresses, and I have it on a completely separate phone where I have none of my contacts associated with that phone. Which is same with Facebook, though. Same with Facebook and Instagram. I don't have any of those.
Yep. No, I don't have Facebook, Instagram. I think I have the TikTok app on my phone, but I'm not logged in. So and it has no permissions. So yeah. I try to keep the time sucks on my phone to a minimum.
This is the next one I had in my fridge. This is out of Portland, Oregon, Laurelwood Piston Pale Ale.
Ooh, nice.
Get that one. It's going to be like a 5 something probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 5.6, 44 IBU. Good old standard pale ale. Again, I usually get my beers at Costco unless I'm getting something fancy.
Yep. You know, even Costco has been having a pretty good selection of craft beers over the last couple of years.
They do. They've got good variety packs.
Yeah. Variety packs have been awesome. Also, they started selling individual bottles, at least at the Costco's near me. So they've had New Holland's Dragon's Milk. They've had all kinds of different, individual, 20 and 22 ounce bottles. So
I haven't seen their individual bottles, but they do have the sort of tall boy like 4-packs. They have a ton of those. And they rotate those pretty regularly, which is nice. If
you haven't, if they have the tall boy 4-packs, they probably carry it at your Costco. Look for Quilter's Irish Death.
Oh, they have that. Actually, they had that. I just looked at it like 2 days ago.
It is a crazy good beer. I'll pick
that up.
It's a 7%er. But it's an Irish smooth ale. Very malty, very, very delicious. It's made,
in Ireland.
No, it's actually in Washington brewery. I'm trying to remember. It's not Camas, but it's somewhere there in central Washington is where that one's brewed. Normally, though, those 16-ounce cans are sold for like $5 a piece. I think Costco sells the 4-pack of them for like $7.
Wow, so that's actually really good.
Not only is it a phenomenal beer, it's an even better price.
Yeah, I was telling you, I'm going back there tomorrow to check out that possible streaming PC that I'd like to buy, and I'll go pick up a 4-pack of that. Check it out.
Yeah.
Someone says, if Costco's selling it, is it really a craft beer anymore? I think different regional Costco's have different regional beers, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, if I were a craft brewer and Costco came to me and they're like, hey, we want to sign a contract for, however many thousands of cans of beer a month, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Please take my money. Give me some money. Give me some of that Costco money. I do wonder what their markup is on it, though.
Yeah, no, the beers that they carry are usually the lowest prices I've ever seen those beers for. Dragon's Milk usually sells here for about $10 a bottle. If you find it at a bottle shop, somewhere between $10 and $12 a bottle. I think Costco has it for $7.50.
Wow.
And like all of their packs are like that. Of their single bottles and their 4-packs.
Speaking of markup, I was in Best Buy, which, by the way, Best Buy is the absolutely worst place you could buy a pre-built computer. They're just terrible selection of computers there. The Costco is way better than Best Buy, believe it or not.
Yes.
But I was in Best Buy, and I always check out their little router section, right? Like what routers they have on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a TP-Link Deco Wi-Fi 7 3-node whole home mesh wireless system, Jeff, for $1,500. $1,500. And I was like, holy crap, that's insane. It's like the BE22000 is the model number. $1,500. And by the way, right next to it was the Wi-Fi 6E version of the same thing for $269.
I can't even form a response to that.
The only thing I was thinking is maybe they because it was just prior to Black Friday, maybe they marked it way up for Black Friday to then give it a 50% discount or something. But I went back in last Tuesday and it was still sitting there, $1,500 for a 3. You know what kind of system you could build for $1,500? What kind of network you could have? A really nice one.
Uh-huh.
Insanity.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And Wi-Fi 7 isn't even a set standard yet.
Right. Yeah, it's Wi-Fi 7 spec.
Yeah.
We hope it is approved in its current form. Let's make a product around it.
Someone said my video is blurry. If anything, though, that's probably, I would imagine that's probably Zoom doing something weird.
Looks pretty decent. There's some aliasing going on with your microphone. Like it's like blocky, so you can see like.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not blurry. It's very sharp. It's just maybe not the best resolution coming through. But it looks great to me. So you look fine.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It's all about the plug and play, someone says. Yeah, but I really don't like those mesh wireless systems anyways. I don't really recommend the whole home mesh wireless. Yeah. Just because you don't really know what you're getting, and if the mesh wireless doesn't have a separate radio for dedicated backhaul, you're cutting your bandwidth in half for any devices that are connected to the remote units. So I don't know. I'm not into it. I don't like it. I get so many calls from people that are like, yeah, I tried to set up this mesh thing. I've got an outbuilding 150 yards behind my house, and I tried to, mesh it to the home network, and it's like, yeah, that's never going to work, guy.
Did you have Wi-Fi out there to begin with? Well, no. So I bought the mesh system. It's like, well, the Wi-Fi has to get out there for the mesh system to work. I don't know if you knew that.
It's the same concept also of like, you can have the most powerful antenna in the world doing your Wi-Fi, but it has to do with the device's antenna that's connecting to that Wi-Fi. Both sides have to be in there for it to be decent signal strength and whatnot.
Yeah.
Point to point, folks. Point to point and point to multipoint. They're so easy to set up, and it's like a wireless wire. Even MikroTik has a product marketed as the wireless wire. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Yep. No, I've done so many Unify and MikroTik point-to-point wireless systems. You get the 14 gigahertz setups that'll do 5 gig over 20 miles or something like that.
Yeah. The ones that I like now, so Ubiquity's got two different ones that are 60 gigahertz antennas with 5 gigahertz backup antennas. Mm-hmm. So like the 60 gigahertz, you have to have first of all, a pencil thin connection from one point to the other. So it has to be like really well tuned in, really well lined up. Yeah. But it's also more susceptible to weather, like fog and rain. It doesn't go all that far. But if there's any problem with that 60 gigahertz link where you're getting, multi-gigabit across the link, it fails over to a 5 gigahertz link, which is much more forgiving, and still gets you like 300, 400, 500 megabits.
Yeah. No, we did quite a few. I think I did one that was 7 miles at one point.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, where we were getting 500 meg over 7 miles off just a Unify setup. So
you got 1,000 people telling you now your mic's too loud.
How was the? I didn't touch my mic. What the crap? I touched nothing. Yeah, no, it's peaking on my. What the heck happened?
Maybe you bumped it.
That is so. There's nothing to bump. Like I have no idea how it would have done that. That is bizarre. I touched nothing, and there's no amount of keyboard commands that will affect the physical dial on my microphone But speaking of audio interfaces and how freaking finicky they are sometimes, there you go. Jeff playing footsie under the desk. Well, that's besides the point. That's a whole other thing entirely.
Look what I just got. I just got the Stream Deck pedal.
Oh,
look at that thing.
Nice.
So the idea with this one, I got the Elgato prompter, and you can use the prompter. So I have the Stream Deck. I always get Steam Deck, Stream Deck mixed up. Yeah. I have the Stream Deck Plus, where it has the little knobs on it at the bottom. Yeah. So the knobs you can use with the prompter. The knobs can affect the speed that the prompter is flowing, and then this guy, I can start and stop the script on the prompter with my foot.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
among other things.
So I built my own prompter quite a while ago. I have a teleprompter. It's what is that?
The Parrot, maybe?
No, it's not the Parrot. I had the Parrot one. It was okay. Like hardware wise, I wasn't all. It was not meant to hold like an actual camera. It was meant to be if you have a smartphone and you wanted a teleprompter. It came with a little bracket that it was very flimsy. It was not all that impressive. But if you have like 4 pounds of camera gear that needs to hang off it, it didn't work. So my main camera is an A7 IV with a full cine cage and an Adamus Ninja for recording, and so it's a quite heavy camera. My teleprompter is an ILO something. It's like a 13-inch piece of glass, so it's very large. And I use a full-size iPad for my screen. I still use the Parrot app, and
gotcha.
And I hate the Parrot app, but it's the best teleprompter app that's available for the iPad, which sucks.
The Elgato one's not great, just so you're aware. The Elgato, the prompter itself is great. The Elgato software for they call it the Elgato Camera Hub that runs the script for the prompter is not great at all.
Lovely. For a remote, I've tried quite a few different remotes. I have the Parrot remote, but why would you build a remote that uses a 2032 button cell battery? That's a Bluetooth device. Like, I understand it provides 3 volts, but at the same time, I'm replacing it every 2 weeks. And
oh, really? I have not found that to be the case with mine. I replace it maybe every 6 months, but I don't know. I guess I don't use it that much.
Yeah, no, I record every video, and it seems like I would get through about 4, 5, 6 videos, and the remote would be dead. Who knew that button cell batteries didn't have much capacity to them?
Well, they're tiny,
So my new teleprompter remote, and this is 90% of the use I get out of it, is my flipper.
There you go.
It has a Keynote Bluetooth application in it, so you can use the arrow keys as your teleprompter remote, and it works amazingly well.
Oh, that's really good. That's a good idea. Yeah, the Elgato, I use the mouse because you can actually use the scroll wheel to move the script up and down while you're recording, which is kind of nice. Yeah. You want to see? You want to get a little jealous, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just got.
Do you have the clear one?
I got the clear one.
You're right. I am jealous now. That's dope.
That is I have not turned it on yet. I was going to do some videos on like a getting started with Flipper X, so I was saving it for that. I have not turned it on yet, but
nice.
I have the white one like you have, and I did some videos on TikTok of like driving around and opening up Tesla charge ports with it. And everyone was like so mad. They're like, "Oh, you're damaging people's Teslas. You're just showing yourself going around doing property damage." And I'm like, those charge ports close after like 30 seconds.
They're
right?
fully waterproof. If they're not connected, they automatically close.
You would not believe the amount of comments I got accusing me of doing malicious damage to other people's cars.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing, though. I really like it. I really don't use it for much. My like little, my little dolphin is always angry at me because I'm not using it that much. But I use it for the Tesla thing, and I use it for amiibos on the Nintendo Switch.
I do have a good collection of amiibo on here, including some where I went to Fred Meyer and might have scanned myself.
You can just download them, though. I mean, obviously, I shouldn't get into all that. But
Nintendo deserves all of the money for the products that they're selling.
1,000%.
1,000%. Okay, piracy is bad. Okay. I've used the NFC a couple of times for a couple of different things. One thing I use a lot, actually, some people may not know this about me. I do have a second job every October. I am the general manager of a haunted house.
Oh, that's cool.
And have been for, Almost 20 years now.
Is it one of those like scary ones where people chase you around with fake chainsaws?
Yes. Yeah. So my job there is number one, training the actors, making sure the haunts run efficiently, but also doing general management tasks, making sure people are happy and they've bought tickets and where is this thing at and everything else. Also managing the managers and of the different exhibits and whatnot. So it's a lot of fun. Inside those haunts, though, we have a whole bunch of devices that use sub-gigahertz radios, so 900 megahertz, 454, etc., for controlling smoke machines and fog and strobers and all kinds of stuff. So I went through and I programmed all of the different remotes for all of those into my flipper, so I can walk into a room and activate a device just on the fly. I can go, oh, room 3. Okay, here we go. Oh, that someone didn't turn the fog machine on. Click. Okay, there we go. I don't have to find the remote. I don't have to find an actor or where did it get placed or anything like that. I can just go, oh yeah, it's this one. Cool. So being able to scan different frequency ranges, learn the codes, and then be able to repeat them, oftentimes with a lot more power than the stock remotes had. This has been pretty great. It's been an awesome tool for things like that.
Have you ever been to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland?
I have not been since... I haven't been to Disneyland since the 90s.
Okay, so Galaxy's Edge, right? The Star Wars land.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. It's worth the pilgrimage, Jeff, if you ever get a chance to go.
Oh, it's on my list. But yeah.
I'm going again in 2 weeks. I'm very excited about it because last time I went and I didn't get to spend nearly enough time in Galaxy's Edge. Mm-hmm. Within Galaxy's Edge, they have an app. They have a specific app just for that area of Disneyland, where you can find QR codes on random crates and stuff that are all littered around this whole area. It's it's a big land. It's a pretty good size. They got a whole full-size Millennium Falcon sitting there. Yeah. And so like you wander around, you see like crates stacked up or things on a wall or whatever, and you can scan QR codes. You do little mini games with the QR codes and you unlock items, and you can also scan specific things like doors. And like, so if you scan this one QR code, it makes something on the other side of the room you're in light up or beep or move or make a noise or something, right? So they've got it all dialed in like that. And I'm like, I got to take this flipper to Disneyland this time and just see if there's anything I can do with Galaxy's Edge. Yeah. And like, because it's the whole place is automated. Like it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Time I didn't do it last
charging
time,
ports you can open on droids.
I'm going to build my own lightsaber this time. I didn't have time to do it last time, but I will for sure do it this time.
My neighbor went to Galaxy's Edge last year, maybe early spring or something like that. Came home with 3 lightsabers.
Oh wow,
they're pretty great.
Yeah. I had some cousins that were there, and he was telling me this story. He's like, yeah, we went to Galaxy's Edge, and we saw like all these people lined up at this shop, and all of a sudden they were all like clamoring around this one like bin of stuff. And I went over there, and it was like some sort of special limited edition lightsaber, and like people were like immediately putting them on eBay like from their phone, like right when they bought them and stuff. And I was like, and you got one, right? Like you bought one. He's like, no. I'm like, oh, that's the one you buy. The limited edition one that all the Star Wars nerds are clamoring around, that's the one you buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so John says, looks like your battery cam may be getting low, starting to glitch. So it's not the, so the camera's, it's actually plugged in. What happens is it's the Elgato 4K, whatever, the little capture thing. Yeah. That thing starts to glitch out every so often.
It likes to go every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So the camera's actually fine on battery power. It's just that Elgato thing. And it probably had to do with the fact that I pulled my power and then had to replug it in. It probably screwed something up on that Elgato. Yeah. That's all right.
Jose says, Jeff, I watched your videos on the dual CPU X99. Had a question regarding the case. I'm looking for a case that can support dual CPU and at least 3 GPUs. That's pretty simple. There's a whole bunch of systems out there. Basically, you need to find a case that supports EATX or CEB sized boards. ATX is not enough for the dual socket X99. There's Jingsha, and there's a couple of Hunanzi. There's a couple others out there. ATX is not enough. You have to have EATX or CEB. And all of those cases are going to support 3 GPUs, no problem. Any case large enough to support that motherboard supports whatever expansion cards that you want to throw at it. But you say, with a lot of 5 1/4 bays, that doesn't exist anymore. Finding a case with a single 5 1/4 bay is kind of unobtainium. The only one that really comes to my mind is the Be Quiet Dark Base Pro. The Dark Base, what is it, 900, 901, something like that. And I think InWin might also have a case that still has a single 5 1/4 bay. You're talking.
Like, what are you using that for at this point? I mean, if you still want a CD-ROM, like why?
Why? Right.
I mean, they used to have those like sort of all-in-one 5 1/4 inch inserts with like all the different SD cards and stuff. Maybe that, or maybe like a 5 1/4 USB expansion for a bunch of ports or something like that. I could see, but like, yeah, I haven't had a 5 1/4 inch drive bay in forever.
Right. Lacosa says Fantex has one with 3 bays. David says I'd sell that guy a half 912. That's actually not a bad option. Cooler Master, the half high airflow case. Sometimes those will have some drive bays left. But yeah,
Veronica.
They're going to be very few and far between.
Jeff, you want to pull up that streaming PC that I sent you earlier? I'd love your opinion on this. So sure. I have so as you guys can see, my weird artifacts going on and the microphone stuff. I'm in the process of building a dedicated streaming / video capture PC for this station that I'm standing at right here. I have an old like Core i5 16 gig under, like, it's a Lenovo that I bought at Costco like when Wi-Fi 6 first came out like ages ago. And it's not cutting it. It doesn't really work very well. So I saw this one at Costco. It's the iBuyPower something something Intel Core i7 13700F. It's got a RTX 4060 with 16 gigs of RAM. Obviously, it has the Windows license, and it's on sale right now for $300 off, or just under $1,000, $999. And I'm like, that seems like a really good deal to me, and I think that would work pretty well as a streaming PC.
Yeah. You could right now you're using a Camlink 4K, you said.
Well, yes, however, I would upgrade to their PCI card based one with the 4 HDMI slots.
Yeah.
Except it's sold out. You can't get your hands on it right now. So as soon as that becomes available, I'm planning on getting the whatever it's like the 4K Pro card from Elgato.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't get the 4K Pro, there's also I use the Blackmagic DeckLink Pro, which is a 4 HDMI capture. It'll do 4 4K 60 inputs at a time. But $1,000, 13700F 4060. You'd have, what is that?
It's a 2 terabyte M.2, I believe.
I'm thinking, what is that? 10 core, 16 thread? I'm trying to remember what the 13700
Well,
is.
the Intel is 16 core. It says right there in the
16
features.
core. 16 core, 16 core, 24 threads. So yeah, 8 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores, 5.2 gigahertz turbo. That's pretty solid. RTX 4060, again, this isn't a gaming PC, but the 4060, you get all of RTX goodness. So you could have RTX voice or background removal or whatever else you wanted through NVIDIA Broadcast, or AV1 encoding. And so that would take care of all of your encoding needs regardless. 2 terabyte NVMe drive.
Plenty.
32 gigs of DDR4.
I could put more in maybe, but like honestly, I'd probably try it with the 32 gigs and see how well it does, and add more RAM if I need
32 to. Is plenty for a streaming machine.
Yeah.
Tell you what, here's my current.
I'm doing no video editing on it or anything like that at all. It's literally just for capturing video.
Here is what I'm doing during my stream. My CPU is sitting at about 20%. I've got a 5950X. And so you can see probably 6 or so of my threads are actually being taxed in any way. There's a couple with some moderate activity, but 14% utilization overall. I'm using 16 gigs of my 32. I have 32 gigs of RAM in the system is all. I'm slinging about 10 megs up. I think the official YouTube stream is running something. I have no idea what that spike was, but
wow.
is running, somewhere around 7 or 8.
That was
megs.
that was your audio problem.
Yeah, that probably was.
I'm just kidding.
And then my NVIDIA graphics card, I've got a 3070 in here. It's taking care of the video encode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is basically the same system that you're looking at. And it works fantastic for me. So.
And it's funny because, like, I posted it on Twitter, and so many people are like, oh, well, you can build your own. It'd be so much more, 50% more powerful and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to go back. I haven't built PCs in a while. I'd now have to go back through the learning curve of figuring out CPUs and GPUs and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to take the time to research and find the best deals on all the parts and then buy everything and put it together.
You got
$1,000. It seems like
you got to source it and find the best deals on the parts that you're individually sourcing, which means you're going to be shopping for 9 to 12 components versus 1, which you've already kind of narrowed down here. Even after you've sourced those 9 to 12 components, power supply and graphics card and storage and everything else, you got to then order them. You got to get them in. You got to put them together. As a small business owner, I'll say this: no time off goes unpunished, and your time is worth so much more than building a PC. $1,000. And I think you'd be hard pressed to buy those parts.
If I started to put together my own PC, I'm going to end up spending more than $1,000. Right. Just because I know myself. Like, I know I'm going to be like, no, I want this specific motherboard, and I'm going to want, 32 gigs or 64 gigs of RAM. I'm going to want a better video card, whatever. That video card itself is probably what, $400, $500, $600, the 4060?
It's $299. It's $299 for the graphics card.
See, I'm telling you, my learning curve on this stuff is so low right now. I'd have to go through and look at everything again.
Yeah, the 4060 is $299. What's the 13700F going for? That's going for $350 by itself. So you're already up to $650 on 2 of the components.
That's what I mean. And then you also got it comes with the Windows license, which is also nice.
You got $350 left for power supply. Well, power supply, there's $100 right there. You've got a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. There's another $120 right now. There, it's $220. Mm-hmm. You haven't even bought a motherboard yet. You got $180 left. Fans,
CPU cooler. That's what I mean. I would spend more than $1,000 on that, guaranteed.
Right. No,
I'm going to buy that one.
That's
the one I'm going to buy.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy that one. I'll buy that, and then I'll put in a 4 HDMI capture card.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be solid.
Yep. I really like the DeckLink Pro. I've been really, really happy with that one.
What's that cost? You know,
it's It's like $500. It's definitely expensive. Ooh. But if you're looking at the Elgato 4K Pro, that one's already like $350 or $400. So
I think it's like $299 actually. $299? But still,
okay.
It's not too much of a stretch, and if it has like onboard encoding capabilities or whatever that are pretty solid, I think it's probably worth the extra money. And it's available. That's the thing. The Elgato one you can't get your hands on.
Yeah. Right.
I used to build my own PCs. Then at a computer swap meet, I found pre-built machines selling for less than I could buy the parts for. Which is basically, that's where I'm at. Like exactly with this one. I'm like, at Costco, it's $300 off for the month of December. They didn't have any, which is why I didn't buy it already. But I talked to the lady that works there, and she's like, yeah, we've got like 600 of them in our distribution warehouse. They'll be here in like a couple days. So I'm going to call them tomorrow and see if they got them in yet. Have you successfully passed a SATA DVD player in Proxmox to VMs?
Yes, I have. I I used to have a system back when I was still working on archiving all of my media. I had a Blu-ray drive and 2 DVD drives that I passed through via SATA, just the way you'd pass through a hard drive. They're the exact same to the operating system or to Proxmox. It doesn't care if it's a hard drive or an optical drive. All it matters is it a SATA disk or not. So it passes through exactly the same. I passed mine through to a Windows VM. Skull, there are dozens of us. And anytime it detected a new disk, it would automatically rip the Blu-ray or DVD contents and put it on my NAS. And so I could name it and sort it later into my Proxmox or into my Plex server.
Backups.
Yep.
Well, we didn't get to any of those articles yet. Should we read some of those articles?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Again, being we kind of started things off talking about a one-man MSP, providing business services or whatever else. Man, there's a couple of companies I would not want to be a tech at right now, and I think we'll start with the big one, and that's ownCloud. You ever seen a CVE of 10 before? And I'm not talking rounding up. I'm talking actual 10.
Yeah, that's bad.
They're rare. So CVEs are given. That's the severity score of a CVE, of a critical flaw in a system. They're given a number 1 through 10 based on their severity and likelihood of being exploited in the wild. Even some of the worst ones, like I think Spectre and Meltdown, were like 9.4s. Wow. So if you think of like well-known exploits that were like damning for companies for a decade worth of products, ownCloud just scored a 10 because all it takes is a hacker to enter a URL redirect to an exposed server, and they can pull out not only session tokens, but cryptographic keys and the username and password that the server is looking for to log in.
Yeah, the administrative credentials. And I think they said that had just to do with like the Docker, the VMs of ownCloud, but like still,
right.
It's like very easy to exploit, and it's extremely dangerous when you do. So
and the vulnerability is ownCloud itself, but this also has the potential to gain bare metal access onto the machine that ownCloud is running on. So not just the ownCloud service, but root bare metal access, and that's why it scored a 10. I've
never actually used ownCloud. Have you used ownCloud before?
I've looked into it before. I don't know if I've ever actually deployed it.
I don't think I had never heard of it until I saw this article. I think Nextcloud is like kind of the popular one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, by the way, we're talking about the worst one here. There are 3 CVEs with synchronous numbers. What is it? 49, 103, 104, and 105. 103 is the one with the 10 out of 10 vulnerability score. Basically you are vulnerable if you have your server exposed, like just flat out. There's a couple others. There's 104, which is also listed and documented. The link down in the description has this right here, so you can click on all of these security advisories. You can read through the CVEs. It's really interesting reading. The others, I think, have a 9.8 for 94105, and an 8.7 for 94104. And the only reason that one has an 8.7 is because it only affects domains that do not have a certificate authority assigned to them. Still kind of a narrow, definition, but not a great day to be ownCloud's development team.
Did you hear about that other one? It's not one of the articles that you sent over, but it was, there's some, like, one of the it's like, I think it's the US's like second largest provider of mortgages got hit with a ransomware attack so bad that it took down their website, their email, and their ability to process mortgage payments.
Wow.
It was big news because it was this one big mortgage company. Maybe someone in the chat knows what it was called. We can look it up. But it was this one big mortgage company that like is the umbrella corporation for like a ton of other mortgage providers.
Fidelity
here in the U.S. and they got massively National Fidelity. I think that's what it was called.
Fidelity. Fidelity National Financial. Yeah.
Yes, and they got hosed. I'm not sure they've even recovered from it yet, but like people. There was a story of a woman who was in the process of selling her home and had received the payment from the seller and was unable to get it, like a $300,000. Yeah, she sold her home for $300,000 something and her money was in limbo. Like she wasn't able to get the money out of the mortgage company. Jeez. Which, like, this is the worst one I've heard of in a long time.
Yeah.
How old is that article you're looking at right
now? 2 days, Monday.
November 27th. All right, in fact, I think this is ongoing.
In fact, it references that exact story. Woman in Illinois sold her home for $397,000, and basically the bank owns the house right now because she can't get her money out of it. So
yeah, and they can't process mortgage payments. They can't take people's money. Ooh, yeah, so people are saying Cooper, Mr. Cooper, but I think that was under that same umbrella of subsidiary companies.
Yeah. A couple of comments coming in saying Nextcloud is the open source fork of ownCloud. So ownCloud is the retail variant, and then Nextcloud is the official open source fork. So I have not heard whether or not Nextcloud is also vulnerable to this, although if they are the open source fork of the same application, maybe.
Well, maybe, but also maybe not, because the open source fork might have community-driven security patches that that ownCloud is not benefiting from.
Right. Or different authentication mechanisms, or different implementations of things. We see that all the time. With even with like LDAP systems and things like that, where open source LDAP will use completely different authentication methods as Active Directory or Red Hat or whatever else. So
yeah, did you follow along with any of the Sangoma drama that happened a couple months ago? With they had a pretty severe exploit that they did not patch properly.
I was very aware of that.
So the thing that was really
I know the same people that were at Sangoma and then left for I know those people.
Yeah, so we got hit with that. We had about 7 systems hacked. Luckily, we have backups and snapshots and all that. We were able to recover relatively easily for our customers. But the one thing that really got me about the whole thing is the gentleman who had brought up the entire hack. He brought it up at DEF CON, at a talk at DEF CON 31. And he of course had already brought this to Sangoma's attention, and they had done nothing about it for months leading up to that DEF CON talk when he finally made it public. And then I got hit with it about 10 days after that DEF CON talk, right? After it was made public. And what Sangoma did is
I remember your video explaining
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the one thing that they did that was really bad, and just so bad for a company to do in this day and age, is they had a bug bounty program. When this guy called them on the bug bounty program, submitted the bug, and was like, okay, great, you verified it, let's pony up the payment, they scrubbed all reference to the bug bounty program off of their website.
Yeah.
Instead of paying out the developer that found the vulnerability.
And just swept it all under the rug.
How'd that work out right under the rug? Yeah. Well, I mean, they never responded to me about my video about the subject. Like literally, I haven't heard from my Sangoma channel partner in well over a year, or my channel manager, or whatever. They never responded to me other than those same people that you referenced that that broke off of Sangoma.
Yeah.
One of them was talking to someone at Sangoma about me and the video, and the only word from Sangoma is, and I quote, "Chris is an effing tool." That was what that's their response from Sangoma about my video complaining about their hacking.
Interesting side note. I've been to Sangoma's offices in Wisconsin.
So have I, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You mean, wait, no, you've been to their old offices, because here's another fun fact about Sangoma.
Uh-huh.
They abandoned those offices that they had in I think it was Appleton, Wisconsin.
Appleton, yeah.
They abandoned those offices and just skedaddled on their 2-year lease without telling the landlord that they were leaving.
Oh God.
Yeah, real bad. I'm not super confident about the future of Sangoma, honestly.
Yeah. No, for those who aren't keen on the Sangoma drama surrounding FreePBX, Sangoma, how do I put this lightly? Like in a way that screw it, they're gonna call me an effing tool anyway.
They're not the best stewards of the FreePBX open source project.
They were for a long time. Recent changes in management, administration, culture, etc., have made them not the best stewards of this open source project. And Sangoma seems more concerned with making sure you buy their everything packs for $3,000 if you're going to use their tools, while also not patching security vulnerabilities or providing literally any support to the system that you buy.
It's not that. It's not that. FreePBX is a very small percentage of their overall revenue. Sangoma,
that's right. They're also going after hosted systems. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. From 5-10 years ago, Sangoma was a hardware company. They were selling cards, and they brought on the FreePBX project to help sell their hardware cards. Mm-hmm. They are now, as of this past quarter, 80 or 82% of the revenue comes from monthly recurring services, not hardware anymore.
Yep. So
they are a software company now. They're not a hardware company anymore.
Right. So, yeah. They went over to, is it Clearly?
Mm-hmm. Clearly IP is
Clearly
the name
IP,
of the company.
Right.
So the CTO of Sangoma broke off of Sangoma,
yes,
and started his own business, which is doing quite well. I actually like Clearly a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a whole thing.
It's drama, it's open source drama, and I just hope they don't just drive it into the ground until it's dead.
Yeah,
because there's no good alternative to FreePBX. There's the closest one is 3CX, and 3CX, while the product is actually solid, it's a decent product, 3CX. Mm-hmm. The way that they treat channel partners and the things that they do as a company are real shady, right? So I'll give you 2 examples. Yeah. The first example is 3CX was caught late last year or mid this year, marketing directly to the end users of the product. So like, say I'm a channel partner, and Jeff, I've sold you a 3CX system. You've entered your email address into that 3CX system because you get voicemail to email. They are now sending you direct marketing emails about 3CX, bypassing me as their channel partner.
Ooh.
Okay. So that's number one bad thing they did. The other bad thing they did is they sent out an email to all of their partners. If you bought a perpetual 3CX license for their phone system, they decided that your perpetual license is no longer perpetual, and you will now switch to monthly recurring. And if you don't like it, we are going to deactivate your server. Bad, just bad juju. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to do stuff like that.
Yeah, Coffee and Cynicism says, are you still using the Sangoma appliance for hosting Apache guacamole? Good memory. I had a Sangoma FreePBX appliance that I wiped and formatted and used, I think it was Ubuntu Mate, to run a guacamole server. So from my rack, I could use my KVM to open up that server and then access the web interface or the actual console through remote of any server that was in my rack.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I was using a Sangoma appliance to do that.
That's funny. You know, I've probably got, like, no joke, I've probably got like 5 or 6 Sangoma appliances up in my attic, just not connected, collecting dust. I should probably do something with those.
Yeah.
They're decent servers, I mean, for stuff like that.
They're competent little boxes. I think mine had a Celeron J1900 or something like that, had 4 gigs of RAM. Like, there's no reason it can't run a desktop environment and a web GUI. Like, no. Yeah, so that's what why I ended up doing with one of my boxes.
We didn't so they had the Sangoma, what's probably the most popular Sangoma appliance that we sold was the Phone System 60. And the thing about the Phone System 60 is it was notorious for having power supply failures. Mm-hmm. But they did not make a standalone power supply that you could just purchase and replace. You had to, it was some proprietary thing that you couldn't get your hands on that specific power supply, so you'd have to RMA the entire server, which was not great. Like, they could have saved so much money if they just had a power they could ship out to people. Proxmox HA cluster. Yeah, you could do that. Sure.
Totally. I mean,
you don't need a lot. The thing about like home lab stuff now is you don't need a big powerful server for all the home lab stuff.
Right.
You can, they've got a ton of mini servers that work really well. And then they also have, cloud hosted apps and stuff that are just fine.
Yeah. No, I think he was recommending for all of your Sangoma servers, why don't you build yourself like a little Proxmox high availability cluster?
I just have no need for that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
it looks good in the project, rack, but like, it really does.
You've got like DB Tech and Techno Tim and those guys do their Proxmox stuff. I'm not a Proxmox guy. It's like, I don't. I've got my niche videos that are not Proxmox. And the thing about YouTube is, you guys don't understand. If you start to drift outside your niche on YouTube, you actually get penalized pretty hard. So, like, a good example is, about a year and a half ago, I personally was getting into cryptocurrency hardware wallets. I thought it's a really cool technology, right? You got these like secure keys on a secure device, and like, how does it interface? How can you trade crypto through and that sort of thing? And by the way, I'm not even a big crypto guy. Like, I maybe have like $1,000 worth of crypto I've traded in my entire life. Like, not a ton. I'm not buying Lamborghinis or anything. And I just think it's cool technology. So I did like 2 or 3 videos on cryptocurrency hardware wallets, and YouTube is like, oh, this person is a cryptocurrency guy now, and started sending all my network videos. The algorithm sends all my network videos to all of these cryptocurrency fans. No one watches the videos, so they're like, oh, this is a bad video. We're going to stop, pushing it on people.
Yep.
And so that's how the algorithm works. And if you start to drift outside of your niche at all, that's why you see so many YouTubers that open up multiple channels, and they'll put like their side content on a completely different channel, is because if you don't do that, the algorithm kills you. Like, I was going from growing at like 8 or 9, 10,000 subscribers a month down to under 2,000 in the span of 6 months. And it's taken me a long time to dig myself back out of that hole. So yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way.
Yeah, no, that's one of the interesting areas that I've always flirted with my channel, is I do cover so many different things, and it almost seems like I sometimes fight against the algorithm, trying to make sure that my user base understands I have more interests than just covering Proxmox or just covering vGPU or just covering AliExpress builds. I've done everything on my channel, from monitor reviews to brand new graphics cards to high-end water cooling builds to case mods
to e-bikes
to e-bikes. Exactly, and I was going to bring that one up. The e-bike video bombed like hard. Like, I think it has like 7,000.
Because you're not an e-bike channel. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
right. But what tech isn't necessarily interested in? Like, oh, electric vehicle. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Of course.
And so I will post that content every once in a while, just kind of throw the algorithm a curveball and like
mix it up a bit. Yeah.
Right. Mix it up a bit. And I also don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to be typecast as you're the Proxmox guy now. Do Proxmox stuff. Dance, puppet, dance. Because I will lose interest like that. I can only do so much Proxmox content before I don't want to do videos anymore. So what you're seeing is not necessarily, me feeding the algorithm. It's what am I interested in this month? What's fun? What's new? What's exciting for an enthusiast?
You got to go the Chris Titus route. I mean, that guy, he's got 500,000 plus subs on his main channel. But then he started a cryptocurrency channel. He started, I think, a fitness channel. He has a channel specifically for his live streams. Yeah. That's the way to do it. You just got a bunch of different channels. And when you come up with something, that you just put it in the channel where it fits best. Yeah.
I've considered dropping the live streams off of this channel and starting a second channel just for that and seeing how that goes. My fear is, though, that I don't necessarily want to stop advertising to my subscribers that I'm doing. Like, this is a 6-year running show.
It's you've got a built-in audience that's used to seeing you at a specific day and time.
Right.
It's never tough to shift that somewhere.
It's never been the most successful thing, but through syndication and podcasting and everything else, like after the show, we have a script that rips the audio from the podcast and distributes it to Anchor FM and Spotify and iTunes and Google, and there's 12 or 13 different services. Between those services, I get 30,000 clicks a month. It's not a small audience that listens to my podcast.
Hey, Spotify.
Yeah, hi, Spotify. Hi. Hey, iTunes, how's it going? Right. And so, but would I retain that audience? I know the replay audience would retain, but would I grow an audience on the YouTube side of things, or would it just be cast into the ether? If I split it off the main channel. So it's I don't know.
It's a tough choice.
I don't really want to make that step either, because it's been working. And so
it's tough. Yeah. And I don't know if you get any, so I get easily twice a week, I get an email from my quote unquote YouTube channel rep.
I don't have a channel rep.
Okay, well, it's fine. You don't need one.
Right.
Because every time I met with them twice, and both times that I met with them, they know nothing about my actual channel. They give me zero insight or advice on how to grow the channel. All they want to do is they want to tell me that I should be doing live stream with super chats. Oh, have you heard about super stickers? Oh, we now have subscriptions that you can add in for your audience. They're just literally salespeople trying to sell me YouTube accessories for my YouTube channel. And I'm totally disinterested in that. If you were actually providing me good value, I would respond to your emails. Now they just go all in the trash.
Do you know what I need from a YouTube rep? I need when 3 of my videos in a row have the audio out of sync when the source video was perfectly in sync. I need you to be able to fix that problem for me so my audience doesn't pin that on me. I need support.
I've never had that happen. That's weird.
This happened a couple of years ago. I had 3 or 4 videos in a row that I would upload. I would go through the entire, process of we're encoding, we're doing this now. I would watch the video through once it went live on YouTube and everything was great. And then 12 hours later, it reprocessed the video and desynced my audio. And
weird.
And I got in touch with YouTube and I said, hey, what the crap? And they went, oh, there was an error in your video file. I went, no, there was not. The video is in sync. When I submitted it, here's the raw clip. Tell you what, I'll upload the raw clip to Google Drive. You can inspect it all you want. But the problem is, now my video's out of sync. It's not my fault that it's out of sync. Something happened in the process that's your fault. And they went, well, you could always delete it and re-upload it. I went, no, because that just kills it. And
And then you've lost that core audience. And then when you do re-upload it, people are like, you've already uploaded this video.
You've already uploaded this video. And so what I need from YouTube is some actual goddamn support for issues like that.
Well, I would honestly love it if they had, even if it was some sort of automated thing, if they had a way to analyze a YouTube channel and say, hey, these videos that you did really well, and we think they did well because of the combination of title and thumbnail and content, whatever the case may be. So you should gear yourself more towards these types of videos, and these videos over here didn't do so well, and here's why. Like, if they actually provided that kind of value as a YouTube quote-unquote channel rep, that would be amazing. But they don't. It's just a sales pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem that I've heard from a couple different people, not just you, is, you know, back in the old days when you crossed 100,000 subscribers, you used to get a dedicated YouTube representative, a person that you could call. They ended that program about the same time that I crossed 100,000 subscribers. There was a couple different things that they ended right about that time that I crossed 100,000. They were ending the verification system where you got a check mark next to your name when you crossed 100,000 subscribers. And so it took me like 9 months after I crossed for them to give me my check mark, because they took it away for 3 weeks. And during that 3 weeks, I crossed 100,000, and then they re-implemented the system, and they went, well, you're not eligible for a check mark. And I went, give me my damn check mark. Like, what the crap? So yeah, I've gone back and forth with so many different things. I don't want YouTube sales. I don't want this. I want YouTube to actually support me as a creator. Like,
yeah.
I know 330,000 isn't the biggest YouTube channel out there, but at the same time, it's the largest channel that I've ever ran. And boy, it would be great if...
It's nothing to shake a stick at. You know what I mean? Like, you have grown a significant audience here on YouTube. You have made YouTube a very good amount of money over the years. They should be putting a little bit back into your channel.
Right. And
by the way, if they did put back into your channel, even if they set it at, okay, well, you don't get this until you hit 500,000 or whatever the case may be. If they do put that back into the channel, it's only helping them.
Right.
If they help a creator like you or I grow to 500, a million subscribers, though, that's revenue in their pocket. And how much would it take as far as effort and what they're paying some, you know, mid-range employee to analyze the channel and tell you how to do better? It just would make financial sense for them. But again, you know, listen, what do I know? I don't run a big company.
Yep. Vince, who recently started his own YouTube channel, says he had a YouTube video pop off, but the algorithm thought it was paid click or something, so it stopped showing it to anyone. I've gone through that a couple of different times. Again, fighting against the algorithm and not wanting to be typecast. I apologize for all of the Wish.com unboxings. That was my fault. I did one of those videos. It got 2.4 million views.
Really? Wow.
Yes. And I've never done another one. Because I could have easily just leaned into that and been the Wish.com creator, and good God, I would have already paid off my house, and maybe I freaking should have done that.
You've been like Network Chuck. You'd have two houses,
right? But after that video went, I saw 40,000 subscribers in 4 weeks.
Was that the LTT one, the LTT build thing?
No. This is way before that.
Really?
The Wish.com video was 2018. And I saw... I was at 10,000 subscribers when I posted it. In fact, I know that because in that video... I say, welcome back to Craft Computing, all 10,000 of you, because I had just crossed 10,000 subscribers. And that video was responsible for 40,000 subs.
Wow.
And
what is this, Wish.com? Hang on, let me write that down.
Yeah, Wish.com. Yeah, look up my Wish.com video. It's pretty good. So I shot up. And I got like 1.5 million views in a couple of days.
Wow.
And And it was great. But then all the people realized I wasn't just a Wish.com unboxing channel. And the only time I have ever lost subscribers in the history of my channel is the 3 weeks after that, where they started petering out. Where people went, oh, he's back to posting tech content or whatever the crap he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unsubscribed.
Dislike. Right. That's crazy, man. It's so weird, the things that,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's weird the things that people watch also, like just the niches that people get into. Like I was talking to a neighbor of mine and they're like, you know what I really like watching on YouTube is I like watching long haul trucker videos, which of course I didn't know was a thing, but apparently like people that drive truck, I think that's the expression, right? Drive truck around the country and just post videos about where they are, the truck stops they're hitting, and their sort of rambling thoughts from on the road. That's a whole YouTube niche that I was not aware of. That people love that stuff.
Yeah,
that's the kind of the cool thing about YouTube. There's always something for everyone.
Right. And it's fantastic. And there is a lot of good content out there, but it's so frustrating that YouTube wants to typecast you. They want to pigeonhole you into a very specific niche of your audience is this. And so we can deliver that audience similar videos to whatever you produce and typecast the audience as well and put you all in this nice little neat bubble. My YouTube viewing habits are I don't watch any tech content on YouTube anymore. Occasionally, I'll click on a Linus video when they pop up. But I like watching videos of trades and like trained professions. And so plumbing videos and woodworking and electrical and things like that. Hey, today we're replacing this water heater, and how do you do that? I'm like, that's really interesting.
Right.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love DIY stuff, and so I watch a lot of different DIY channels.
My favorite explanation of this is like, what are the videos that you watch on a Saturday morning when you're eating breakfast? Right. And it's like, what are you when it's your time, what are you putting on YouTube? And like for you, it's the DIY videos. Like me personally, I like guys that build terrariums. I think that's super fun.
That's super cool.
And there's a great channel that I enjoy quite a bit. He only posts about once a month now, but it's called Ghost Town Living, and it's about a guy who bought a ghost town in Death Valley, California, and he's just been renovating this ghost town for like 3 years. And like today I'm working on the general store. Yeah, basically. And like and he's exploring mines and like he's doing stuff like that. It's super cool. When I first started watching that guy, he had fewer subs than I do, and now he's at like 3 million something subscribers. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
There's a couple of channels that started around the same time as me that I was like super huge fans of right off the bat. One of them is How to Drink. I don't know if you've ever watched him. Greg with How to Drink. He does cocktail tutorials. He goes, we're going to make this cocktail. I'm going to tell you the historical origins of it. I'm going to do some really sexy B-roll of it and whatnot. Yeah. I'm going to review it while I'm doing it and everything like that. He started his channel within about 6 months of me starting my channel. And we both had like very strong beginnings. Like within 6 months, we were at like 50,000, 80,000 subscribers or something like that. He kept on that trajectory though. So yeah.
Are you good at making cocktails? I know you're the craft beer guy, but are you a cocktail guy at all?
I am totally a cocktail guy. Hold on here. Let me go this way with the camera. Oh no, wrong way. Hold on.
All right.
Other way.
Other way.
We'll find it.
You got a curved monitor there. Yep. Oh, look at that.
So that's my home bar.
So I can make an old fashioned really well, and that's the only drink that I really know how to well. Other than like I can make a dirty martini because that's what my wife drinks.
Yeah. I love cocktails. I love cocktails more than I love beer. When I started my channel. And I think maybe we'll close with this. It's 10 after the hour, so we'll start wrapping this show up. when I started the channel, I want to have a hook with the channel. Like, I want to do a tech-related channel, and I want to show what my interests are, but how can I bring a little personality to it? And I went, you know what? Maybe I'll have a drink in my hand while I'm doing it. And I went, do I do cocktails or do I do a beer? Because I love cocktails. And I can make cocktails. I love mixology. I love the science of it. I love the art of it. I love everything about it. And I went, the problem is, at episode 300, how many old fashions will I have made? That gets a little stale. Tell you what, we're going to do beer then. And so I went, because I can always crack open someone else's IPA and it's a different beverage. Sure. And so in my main videos, I've never opened the same beer twice. On the live show, yes, I have. But like 380 something videos in, I've never opened the same beer twice. And I can't necessarily say that I would have done that with cocktails. A couple of my favorites. I love an amaretto sour.
That sounds good.
So if you know what a whiskey sour is, there's multiple variations of whiskey sour. I like a Boston style whiskey sour, which is a whiskey sour with egg white, where you shake it, you emulsify the egg, you turn it into this creamy like meringue style head. And it's delicious. An amaretto sour replaces half of the whiskey with amaretto, and so it becomes this super sweet dessert cocktail, and it is so freaking good.
Have you ever heard of I don't know, this is a little known fact. Just from my time spent in Wisconsin, I go there about twice a year because of the Clearly IP training that we do. In Wisconsin, if you order an old fashioned, they give you by default a Wisconsin old fashioned.
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Wisconsin old fashioned is the maple syrup, right?
No, you're incorrect.
Incorrect.
A Wisconsin old fashioned is an old fashioned, but they put seltzer water in it.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I am familiar with that.
And I'm not a fan because I was sitting there and someone next to me ordered a traditional old fashioned, like specifically said, I want a traditional, not a Wisconsin old fashioned. I was like, what? What is this you're talking about? And that's how I learned that. Interesting.
Which is really funny because the definition of an old fashioned is because we went from a cocktail, which was literally a whiskey and sugar cube mix. That was the original definition of a cocktail. To whiskey with bitters and sugar and a couple other things and whatnot. Then you got the improved whiskey cocktail, which is where they started adding oranges and cherries and muddling and seltzer and all this other stuff. The reason we call it an old fashioned is give me a cocktail, but old fashioned. I don't want all of that extra crap in it. So when Wisconsin goes, it's an old fashioned and we're going to top it. That's the complete antithesis of what an old fashioned is supposed to be. Stop it.
It's pretty good though. It's pretty good. I don't know. I had one. It was all right.
Yeah. No. I had a similar experience in Wisconsin. Decent Bloody Marys. That they do make a good Bloody Mary over there. Funny enough, their tap house scene is not great.
No. They have Spotted Cow is their main like go-to beer out there, and it's horrendous. I do not like Spotted Cow.
I don't like Spotted Cow very much. But you'd go to a place that touts themselves as a tap house, and they'd say, "We have 14 haps: Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Milwaukee's Best, Spotted Cow, O'Doul's, maybe maybe like one beer that qualifies as craft, and that's it." And that was all 14 taps. I ended up finding an Irish pub when I was over there that actually had like a good 10 tap beer list and made traditional cocktails and everything else. Like, yes, wish I would have found that on Monday, not Thursday before I flew out.
Right.
But Wisconsin.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna go make myself an old fashioned now that we're talking about it.
That sounds.
I've had
delicious.
just enough beers now to warrant one cocktail before I go to bed.
Next time I see you, I need to make you an amaretto sour.
I will take that. I'll take you up on that for sure.
I think that
I
needs
might
to
be up in Portland area for a couple days in December. So if that happens, I'll let you know. I don't know if you're
excellent
heading up that way at all, but they got a lot of really cool barcades up there and stuff. So
yeah, I'd be down for at least a day up in the city. So yeah, let's make that happen.
All right.
Cool. Well, this has been episode 311 of Talking Heads. Thank you, Chris, so much for joining. That was so much fun.
Thanks for having me.
Anyway, if you like this video, you know what to do. Thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button down below. If you like Chris and want to see some of his videos, CrossTalk Solutions, I've also linked his channel down in the video description. Go give him a look as well. He also does...
Can I introduce
yes,
Rogue
please.
Support? That's the other one. That's the one that I'm launching right now. Rogue Support is for connecting customers who have computer network issues. Regardless of the issue, regardless of the equipment that you're working with, you can get support on it as a combined ecosystem. So if you got TP-Link and Ubiquiti and Netgear stuff all sort of mishmash together, we will support it with qualified technicians handpicked by yours truly. Check it out, Rogue Support.
Excellent. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you to pimp what else you do, because YouTube is but a sliver of the whole Chris. That's
right. Yes, it's called spreading yourself too thin. Is really what it comes out to
be. like two little butters spread over bread.
That's right.
Anyway, Jeff, you missed a super chat. Where did I miss a super chat? How did I miss a super chat?
Hez coming soon. He's coming soon.
He's coming soon. According to Nextcloud, only ownCloud is affected. Yes. Sorry, I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, a couple of people were saying, I think Ben and Veronica were both stating that Nextcloud is completely devoid of shared source code. They've been so far removed over so many years as a fork that and kind of like Chris and I were saying, the authentication mechanisms are completely separate. And so the exploits that are currently in ownCloud are not affecting Nextcloud. So that was great to have confirmation. Yeah, Google Nextcloud CVE to find the statement. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out.
And he is coming. He is coming. Oh, coming soon. He's coming soon.
That's coming soon. Okay.
I don't know who he is, but he is coming soon.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Oh, wait. Similar time. Might be slightly later. Might be like a 6:30, maybe even a 7 o'clock show out. But I'm going to be in San Francisco next week. And there's going to be some guests on the channel, so you're going to want to tune in next week. So please do that. Yes, that'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you next week. Cheers, everyone.
We didn't talk about Star Trek.
We didn't talk about Star Trek. Dang it! I knew I forgot something. And we're out. Perfect.
All right.